So just to start really by introducing myself. So I'm Jessica Jeffrey. I am the TEFL and career specialist here. Um, Today I will be exploring mainly teaching English abroad, um, which is a very valuable and very exciting gap year opportunity as well. There is the potential to teach online. We have tons of webinars there as well on teaching online. So I won't be delving into that as much, but certainly if we have a bit of time at the end, I can. But today we're really going to focus on, sorry, I'm just letting a few extra people in there. Teaching overseas, okay? So, what topics specifically will we cover today? So, firstly, I'm going to start off. What is TEFL? So, a very simple question, but basically, what is teaching English abroad, and what is the certification? Where can you teach abroad? What qualifications or requirements do you need? What the experience is really like, and how to get started. At the end, then, I'm going to have just some dedicated time to a question and answer session. So if you prefer to wait till the end to ask your questions, you can either on camera or you can pop it in the chat there as well. But feel free to stop me during the webinar too. But if I don't get to your answer during it, I can at the end as well. So I'm just going to let the last few people in there. Sorry now, guys, just before I start. Okay. Lovely. So, what is TEFL? So, TEFL is an acronym for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. So, this typically would be certification for teaching English as a second language abroad, overseas. Now, this has obviously grown and expanded in the last few decades, not only just overseas, but also online, also in our home countries locally. So it's really spanned out since then. But you may have heard of people teaching abroad, maybe backpacking in Thailand or Asia, or spending some time in Europe. This typically their work would have been teaching English, possibly either being employed or maybe volunteering as well. So it's a fantastic opportunity for short-term employment, just to gain some travel experience, and also earn a bit of income on the way as well. Um, but it is, yes, typically referring to working with students whose first language is not English. Of course, English is the mode of instruction around the world, in colleges and schools. As well, it is one of the main languages in terms of the corporate world and business, everything like that. So really, it's in huge demand to learn English. Um, Particularly with even, on the internet, things like that, like English is absolutely everywhere. So there's been increasing demand for years for this kind of work. There's so many different settings as a TEFL teacher. So you could be working in schools, language academies, universities, online classrooms, as I mentioned, even private tutoring as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities out there. I could certainly spend days talking about the different pathways. I am going to try my best in this half an hour, but please ask me if you do have any particular pathway that you have in mind you'd like to ask about. I can certainly help as well. So I'm just going to go through our certification, so how that links in. So as a TEFL provider, we provide the minimum certification in TEFL for you. So originally in TEFL qualifications, it would have started with what was called the 120 hour TEFL cert. So this would be what it means essentially is 120 hours is the minimum amount of training you need to become a qualified English teacher. So abroad. But from there, we have a huge amount of course offerings beyond that. But I think for if you're looking at gap years, your first time, teacher, looking at a course like this, I'd probably recommend starting with the 120-hour as well, particularly with volunteering opportunities. So they would be quite short term. Um, this is probably the best option, but we do have other levels. So we have 180 hours, we have 300 hours. So you can build on that as well. Um, but essentially, that is what TEFL is. Why would a gap year be perfect for you, for your child, or for a student? Um, so for many graduates, a gap year is a chance to explore the world before a long-term career. So obviously it's a huge commitment, committing to a long-term career, particularly when you're younger. So this is an opportunity to travel the world before you make that commitment. So TEFL offers a unique way to do that while also gaining really valuable skills. So what are the key benefits here into taking TEFL as a gap year? So number one, so traveling with purpose. So I love this one. So instead of just visiting a country briefly, so maybe on holidays or, tour group or group experience or something like that, you actually live there and you really experience the culture authentically. So it is a really immersive experience. Not only that, but the work that you're doing over there is very, very fulfilling. I know myself personally, when I was younger, I was teaching in Thailand, young girls. It was probably the most fulfilling work I've ever done. It really is, you make such a huge impact. I was only there for 5 to 6 months, but you make such a massive impact in their lives, and you're really teaching them such an invaluable skill of English, that they can use for their future. And of course, it's, being a teacher in their lives, they'll never forget you. So it really is a fantastic opportunity, and to really be part of these communities is really impactful as well, excuse me. Another benefit there, so to earn while you are abroad. So of course, many teaching roles provide a salary. In some countries, accommodation and flights are also included. So I think for me, even starting off, trying to decide myself about traveling, what to do, I certainly I got that, travel bug we all get. But to be honest, I didn't have a penny to my name. And I was really looking for opportunities to work abroad, but also that was quite flexible. I could still have that travel experience that maybe a lot of my friends were having. So I, really scoured the internet looking for something that would appeal to me. And TEFL, so teaching abroad, really did. Because it enabled me to, well, I was curious about teaching, what that would be like, but also to give me a really good salary and a really good setup there as well. It seemed like a dream come true, to be honest. And a lot of people might be saving for years just to travel and to go on a holiday for a couple of months, interrailing, something like that. But coming back and you've emptied all your savings, it can be tough one. So I think definitely the opportunity to earn while you're there as well is a fantastic opportunity. Thirdly, then, so to build your CV while you're there. So a lot of the time, you could have these travel opportunities, but you're leaving a bit of a gap in your CV. So this is, a fantastic, you can still justify that time abroad so that you were employed, you were, honing your skills through teaching, and even gaining that cultural awareness while you're abroad as well, looks really, really well on a resume or a CV. even then for personal growth in general. So living in another country builds your confidence, your independence, and as I said before, your cultural awareness. So definitely from a lot of success stories I've heard from past teachers, they really have increased their kind of resilience and adaptability, even if they come back to their home country and pursue a different career, that it's really been very transferable skills into their workplace. Is there any questions there so far? Just before I continue on, feel free to pop in the chat box there. Anything in particular I can cover as well, guys. I'm just going to move on to destinations if nobody has any questions. So, where can you teach English abroad? So, TEFL is really, it's available anywhere in the world, every country in the world. Um, but really where the demand is in countries where English is not the first language. Okay, so popular destinations would be, sorry, did somebody ask a question there? Sorry. Or maybe it's just the audio. Um, um, Sorry. So just about the popular destinations. So typically there you would probably have Asia. So Asia has a huge demand for English teachers. So countries like Japan, South Korea, so in East Asia, these are actually fantastic opportunities, particularly for the compensation you get in return. So because of such a high demand there, the salaries are very, very competitive. And usually you could be earning twice as much as other teachers there, local teachers. They also typically set you up with accommodation, or they'll cover your rent and your bills. Even I know some schools actually cover your commute. A lot of the time they'd be covering your meals during work as well. So really you could be going home with some really nice savings afterwards. Um, the main difference with contracts there, they might be more long term. So just linked in with visas and everything like that. So places such as Japan, China, and Korea will probably be maybe a year or two long. So it just depends on what your goals are and your preferences. But they are absolutely fantastic options. So I think again, I think if what is your preference in terms of lifestyle? So if it's for yourself, or maybe if you're here, looking into options for your child or a student, would they be ready to go somewhere like Japan or South Korea? It is culturally very, very different. It's a very long way away as well. But do they have, maybe a bit of interest in K-pop? Or they learn Korean? That sort of thing. If they're really into that sort of culture, certainly it could be a fantastic option as well. But as I said, usually you'd be there for about a year as well. Other options there in Asia, so typically Southeast Asia is consistently very popular region for teaching English. So places such as Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia. I'm biased, but Thailand, because I was there, is my favorite, and also Vietnam is fantastic. These are great as well for short-term opportunities. So if you just want to take note there, the difference. So Southeast Asia would have more opportunities, possibly about 4 to 5 months. You'd be looking at contracts there. Um, and the cost of living is extremely low. So compensation might be a little different to East Asia, China, everything like that. But the cost of living is, you're getting dinner for a euro, a dollar. It's really really easy to get by. I'm pretty sure I came back with extra money in my pocket even. So and it's a beautiful lifestyle there, really slow paced of living, and gorgeous to travel around there as well, the different countries and everything like that, and different islands. So there are some really good options for Asia. If yourself or your child or your student are the adventurous kind, these are fantastic options as well. Is there any questions there on Asia? If anybody, is anybody thinking about Asia possibly? Any particular countries? Maybe not. Yeah, again, yeah, oh yeah, perfect. So Kieran said there, I'm leaning towards Thailand as I have family there. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that certainly makes it easier when you have connections. Um, I will say though about Southeast Asia is the expat community is amazing there. You have a lot of other English speakers working there too. Typically, teaching English is the most popular route for getting a visa there. So, um, when you do have those kind of connections, you can make fast friends. It makes for an even better experience, particularly if you're on the younger side. It's nice to have that community there as well. But yeah, absolutely. Thailand is a great option, Karen, as well. But I'm quite biased because I was there as well. Um, but yeah, no, fantastic. So Carolina says, do you need to know? Oh, sorry, let me just sum it up there. Do you need to know the language of the country you are going to? Yeah. I get asked this question all the time. It's a great question. So no, you don't. This is actually the whole idea of TEFL. So, it's the methodology of TEFL is full immersion. So let's say you have a group of students in your class. The moment they come in the door, it would be English only. So we're not speaking your language, very little use of their own language, unless in certain circumstances, they're absolute beginners in English, but more or less no. And you find that globally, a lot of students might have, TV English, so they have exposure to English media or American media, whatever it is. So they'll have maybe hello, how are you? A bit of vocabulary here and there. So you do kind of manage to get by. So I wouldn't worry about this. It certainly helps. Like I'm just going to get on to Europe now, where a lot of people would maybe have a bit of Spanish, a bit of French. It does certainly help. I think more in terms of relocation. So when you're moving abroad there, after school, it's quite helpful to have some survival language on you. But in the classroom, it's preferred that you only speak English because this is the fastest way to learn. Um, Perfect. Another question there. So, would you be able to choose how many people you teach at once, or maybe which age groups? Yeah, that's a great question. Um, so, in terms of numbers, it depends on the school that you're going to. So, what I'd probably watch out for there. So if you're aiming for, okay, I prefer smaller groups, more intimate groups to teach, that would typically be private language centers. So centers or schools that are running for a profit, or they're a franchise, because the students are paying for an experience with smaller groups so they get more attention. So that would maybe be maybe 7 to 12 students at a time. But if you're looking at going into then the public schooling system in some countries, you won't have that option. So typically, let's say you have young learners, or teenagers, and that usually would be pretty big classes. So you'd be looking up to 30, 35. In terms of restricting class sizes, it's a little different from our home country where there might be that limitation, but some countries, if they're a little more on the developing side, Cambodia, something like that in Southeast Asia, there could be quite a lot of students in one class. So it probably depends on the type of schooling that you're going into. And choosing the age group, sometimes this is possibility. So when you're interviewing, you could put out your preference there, that maybe you prefer kindergarten to teenagers, that sort of thing. So that is a possibility sometimes, but again, it would be down to the type of school. So if you're working with private language centers, a lot of the time to keep for them to maintain business, they would take on a lot of adults, and maybe then they'd have younger learners during the summer. So when I was working in Europe, I did, we'll say, adults 70% of the year, and then during the summer they had sort of summer camps for young kids or teenagers. I hope that answers your question. But I would just watch out for the job listings. That's where it'll specify the amount of students and the age as well. So what age do you need to be? Is this after leaving cert? Yeah, so typically this when you're talking about employment, more longer term employment, it would be when you're over 18. So after you're leaving cert, would be usually the time. So you're kind of taking that gap year. There is some opportunities for younger people, kind of 16 to 17. I know locally sometimes they might look for volunteers, or you could become a private tutor as well. But in terms of working in a classroom full time, you would need to be over 18. Another question there from a fellow Jessica. Are there good teaching opportunities in South America? Yes, absolutely. You have Mexico, Chile. Really, it's absolutely endless there as well. Really, really fantastic opportunities. I actually have a link to, we have these country guides on our website. They're a great read. It's like maybe if you've ever read like Lonely Planet, or you bought a travel guide in the shop, it's a bit like that. We have a guide for the TEFL market in each country. We have a section there on South America as well. So if you have a particular country in mind, it'll actually give you a breakdown on the requirements there. But the barriers to entry are quite lower for South America, which is the good news. But absolutely, I can send on the link there now in the chat to have a look at different opportunities for South America, because that's a really popular one as well. I know a good few people as well who are actually teaching English online in South America. So that's a really, really great opportunity, because obviously you have the lower cost of living as well. And that kind of suits the lifestyle there too. So I'm just going to pop in the guides there. So definitely have a look at them, guys, if you want to share that on with your kids or your students as well. They're a great read. So Jory says that I'm looking to teach in Mexico. Fantastic. I have no experience yet. How can I find a job? Most online jobs boards I've looked at require teaching experience. Yeah, that's a big one. So even just tied into younger people looking at a gap year, and in terms of needing experience, really the short answer would be no, you don't strictly need teaching experience. But there is ways to, maybe add other qualifications or other aspects onto your CV to help this. I'm actually going to get to it at the just the next section here about requirements for teaching abroad. So I can delve into the part about teaching experience as well. Yeah, and Kieran says might be worth looking into volunteering as an English teacher. Yeah, perfect, exactly. Volunteering, I was going to say as well, but I'll definitely delve into that there in a minute now. So yeah, I'm just moving on there. So Europe, also a fantastic option. For a lot of people, it's not too far to travel either in Europe. So very popular destinations would be Spain, Italy, France. Spain has been ranked consistently as the best TEFL destination in the world. Would you believe? I think this is mainly just due to its accessibility, really. A lot of people may have a bit of Spanish already, so you or your child have learned Spanish in school and kind of want to use those skills they've learned. It's a great transition to make then a lot easier. But also they have a lot of opportunities for young people where, again, it would be very short-term experiences. couple of weeks even, if you don't want to commit to 6 months or a year to be able to teach there. They'd have a lot of language assistant roles. So if you don't feel comfortable being the classroom leader or the sole teacher of a classroom, it's a really great opportunity there as well. Italy, equally, fantastic country. I taught there myself. There's so many opportunities there, types of schooling as well, a great variety. Obviously, it really appeals to people, the kind of pace of life there. Being particularly if you're in the north of Italy, you're in the heart of Europe, so it's fantastic for traveling around Europe if that's your plan afterwards or during. And of course, France then as well. So again, if you've learned a bit of French, you might want to go over there, like particularly Italy and France. They can offer opportunities to stay with host families. So, and maybe work in the local school there, teaching English. So that's a very immersive experience if you want to take that step, but great for young people in the early 20s, who maybe not ready to live alone, but they could live with a family, and even the kids there as well, they might be teaching them in the local schools. So that's a really exciting opportunity and a language exchange as well, really. Um, and then, of course, if you're not open to going overseas, there is the opportunity to teach online, which is very popular, and you can travel, essentially travel with your laptop, teach anywhere in the world. This is increasingly popular as well because a lot of countries are offering now a digital nomad visa, which is, really attractive to those who really just want to work from home, work remotely, that kind of thing, but still be able to travel around. A lot of them are actually teaching English online as well, full time. So there's a lot of full-time opportunities and to still earn a really great wage. We have lots of webinars recorded on our YouTube channel about teaching online. We have a vast amount of resources as well and articles, which I definitely recommend reading into. But if you have any questions specifically about teaching online, I can come to them at the end as well if we have a bit of time. I'm just going to include here as well, so where to look for opportunities, if it's for yourself, for your child, for your students or anything like that. So these are fantastic websites, jobs boards, that are specifically for TEFL jobs. So if you are going on to general jobs boards, it's going to be a lot harder to find teaching opportunities there. So I definitely recommend these websites to have a look. It's great as well if you're not sure on what country to go to or what schools to teach at. You could just have a look what is trending at the moment there and what kind of times of the year are they hiring as well. Okay, so what do you need to get started? So basically, what are the requirements to teach abroad, teach overseas? So number one, of course, is your TEFL certification. This is vital. As I said earlier, in the industry, you need a minimum of 120 hours of online TEFL training. We do have more hours available as well. But I think if you're starting off, you're looking at this maybe a short-term opportunity, a small gap year, you're doing a bit of volunteering, I would stick with the 120 hours and see how you get on with that. We do have more hours at a higher level, a level 5, that does go into depth more about teaching and grammar and everything like that, which I think is perfect if you do have a bit of teaching experience beforehand, or really great level of English and all of that. But for now, I definitely would look at getting that minimum 120 hours. So to enroll, it's very straightforward. All you need to do is visit our website. You can enroll there, or contact one of our course advisors, and they can recommend you on the best course for yourself and get you enrolled as well. For certain countries, there can be a requirement for a bachelor's degree. So typically, Again, I'd encourage you to read those guides for specific countries. But typically, if we're talking about, let's say, China, Japan, South Korea, East Asia, with the longer term contracts, and it's tied to your visa, you would need a bachelor's level 8 degree to obtain work there. And it is linked to the visa as well. So there's a bit more hoops to jump through. But there's a lot of countries as well that where you don't need a degree, a university degree as well, just your TEFL cert. But I would definitely check that out in our country guides as well. So if you are looking at maybe East Asia, this possibly would be a better gap year after college, we'll say, when you have your degree to hand. So yeah, as well, visa considerations, as I said there, depending on where your passport is from, this is important as well. So you would have to typically be a native English speaker in the seven English speaking countries, USA, UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, this kind of thing. So just something to be aware of. There is opportunities for non-native English speakers if they do have a fluent level. Um, but I would definitely encourage you to get in contact with us for more advice on applying for jobs, just to showcase your English that bit more. But that's the general requirements there as well. Just to go back to your point about teaching experience. So, more often than not, a lot of job listings wouldn't require you to have experience. They may say it sometimes, but I would always encourage you to apply anyway. You never know. And also to really, especially if you're a young person, so you're coming out of school, leaving school, and you don't have that experience, you probably do in some capacity. So have you ever done a bit of babysitting? You can put that down as experience. So for a TEFL CV, that's actually important. So you have experience with children, childcare, maybe you were helping them with their homework, something like this. So highlighting that on your CV or your resume will reflect really, really well. Also, any experience with sports coaching. Maybe you did a bit of training in your current job or past job, training a new hire, anything like that at all reflects really, really well for job applications. But as I said before, volunteering is a great route as well to gain that experience fast. If you feel, okay, I need to still earn a bit of income while I'm doing this, I would opt for teaching online to get experience because you can actually, there's minimal barriers to this as well. You can create your own profile and recruit your own students and get experience this way. And you can put that on your CV. It's a very valid experience as well, even if it's online. I'm just going to have a quick look. Was there any more questions I didn't catch? So do these people teach privately when teaching online, or is that through an institution? You can actually do both. So there is a lot of companies that would build a platform for you and provide you with students. Then there is an option as well. A lot of websites, they would be like marketplaces. So you could advertise yourself and the students come to you. So there's kind of both options really. Or if you're doing it locally, you could just start up your own teaching business. I would probably recommend, it really just depends how comfortable you feel, but I've done a lot of work on these websites that would be like a marketplace. So you just fill out a application form, build up your profile, similar to what you might do on Facebook. So a bit of information about yourself, a video, you might make a video about yourself and highlighting your qualifications as an online teacher. And the students then would pay you directly. But there is an option to work for companies as well, and they provide the students for you. And then just the last question, can you teach in the US? Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm just focusing on countries where English is not the first language because this would be the highest demand. But equally, in native English speaking countries, there is absolutely opportunities there as well. Usually, though, there would be higher barriers to entry. So they probably would be looking for more qualifications there, and experience too, because you are competition is fierce. There's local English teachers everywhere, so they can take their pick. So that's really probably the only downside there. I would definitely recommend getting a bit of experience beforehand if you are looking at teaching in the US, if that's your home country. I'm not sure, but that would be my advice. Um, the last point there, just before I finish up, is a requirement for teaching would be to have soft skills. Now, obviously, for young people to teach abroad is a way to hone soft skills. It gets you out of your comfort zone. You get, you know, more confident with presenting in front of classes, communication skills, interpersonal skills. As I said before, a lot of transferable skills there. I think probably what might be a concern among a lot of teachers and teachers and parents, sorry, is maybe their child might be very shy. So this is really common. Even I have older adults get in touch with me and say, I couldn't imagine, I love teaching, but I can't imagine the thought of, presenting in front of a group of 30 adults, for example. What I would say is that really it's actually a fantastic career for a shy person, because what our course does, it helps you build a lesson plan for your class. So a lesson plan, I'm sure those who've done the course remember it, having to plan every single detail down to the minute. Can be really reassuring when you're up there presenting that you have every second planned out, you know what you're doing next. And yeah, again, I know a lot of people's number one fear is public speaking. It's a huge one. But I think that's only because when you're presenting, let's say a PowerPoint or something like that, no one's talking back. But when you're teaching, it is a two-way conversation. So you're trying to get people to speak up, to have a conversation with you, and really that doesn't, it will kind of ease your nerves around public speaking. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity for young people to get into teaching English, and as a gap year opportunity to kind of improve those skills as well. Um, so that's kind of the main requirements there for teaching abroad. We also have, we've created a special gap year guide. I'm just going to share the link here now. I really encourage you to download this and to have a read of it yourself if you're the one that's going on a gap year, or you're doing a career break, anything like that. Or if you want to share this with your children, with your students. We do offer the TEFL course in a lot of schools locally as well. So we partner with a lot of secondary high schools and provide these courses for groups. There's more information about that there as well. But it's a really great guide that kind of makes the topic really approachable in how to get started. But as an enrolled student, once you've register for our course, we are here at hand for any help that you need about looking at your career ahead, or if you're looking at a gap year, we can advise you on this as well. So whether it's over email, over a call, anything like that, we can absolutely help you too. So definitely give that a download, guys, if you haven't yet. I'm going to wrap up this session just with any additional questions. As well, before we close out, I'd absolutely love if you could leave a review, guys. If you mention my name and email us the screenshot of the review as well, you can claim a free one-to-one career call with us, with our recruitment team, and a guide as well for job hunting. So as long as you leave a review there, mention my name and email us your review, you can avail of this offer as well. Is there any questions at all? I'll give you a minute there. Anything about a gap year, career break, teaching overseas or online as well? Feel free to shout them out as well if you're brave enough. I hope I didn't miss any questions there in the chat. Just have a quick look again. No questions? What suggestions do you have for starting up your own one-on-one teaching? Yeah, great question. So I guess this depends if you mean private tutoring in person or online. That can be quite different. Um, so suggestions, we actually have a really good webinar. She used to work for us. But she actually left to run her own business teaching English. So she's a bit of an entrepreneur. And we had a webinar with her, and she went through all her advice and tips on how to set up a business in teaching English. So that's definitely worth a watch. Um, but suggestions, I would definitely think trying to recruit students locally can be a little trickier. You really have to put yourself out there. But if you're looking at maybe getting set up quicker and start earning as fast as you can, definitely I'd probably suggest online one-to-one. It's a really good option, particularly if you're still a bit you don't have full confidence yet with teaching. This is kind of a safe environment where, you know, if you're teaching online, you can have all your notes in front of you. They won't know about it, and all your materials in front of you. It's a really great way to get used to teaching as well. Because I do recommend for people who are a bit nervous about starting is conversational English, to start with that, not to make it too grammar heavy or going into business English or something more complicated. Just start that you're advertising for conversational English. So if you are looking at setting it up locally, you could say, look, do you want to do a language exchange, or do you want, I can teach you a bit of conversational English over coffee. This is usually kind of the best way. But certainly there's, I'd say, a lot of opportunity online as well. You'd probably have a bigger pool of students to choose from there as well. You just asked there for the link for the webinar. Yep, we will actually have that up in a few days. It just takes a few days to edit the video, and then we'll have it up on our YouTube channel as well, so you can actually watch it back too. No problem. Is there any other questions there, guys? We have another few minutes anyway. Um, Feel free to contact us. I know sometimes myself, it's not till after something that questions pop into my head, but feel free to contact us by email. You can call us in. We have a live chat as well. We have WhatsApp. We cater to all the masses. To get in touch if you have any more questions about how to enroll on our course, or any career opportunities that you're looking at for TEFL. If you have any questions about, if you're a teacher and you're looking to sign up some of your students, or your parents looking to sign up your children as well, certainly get in touch and we can advise as well on the best course for them. Perfect. So if there's no more questions there, guys, oh, perfect. I just got another one. How do you get started with teaching English as a niche? I am doing a degree in commercial modern music, so a music English niche sounds appropriate for me in the near future. Absolutely. That is exactly the point of TEFL. So I think anything that you feel comfortable in teaching, particularly if it's in, you know, it's someone's profession, so they are moving abroad, they're working as a musician, they're working in the music industry, that has its own lingo of its own type of vocabulary that you can provide as your niche, your specialism. And this will certainly attract your own pool of students as well, whether online or privately. So yeah, absolutely. I think when you're starting to teach as a niche, um, I don't believe there's any qualifications or certifications for music English. You'd have a lot of niches. There's like pilot English, there's medical English, there's so many. I don't think if music English is one just yet. But it certainly will be in the future, I'd say. But if you just start advertising yourself, your own background in it, even if there's maybe a second niche, to kind of have a nice pool of students, in case there isn't many for music, that's great as well. So we have some courses on business English, which might kind of overlap a little bit with music English as well if you're dealing with musical professions. Um, so looking into that as well is a great, like those specialist courses we have, I can't recommend them enough. They're short, you can do them in a week, but they really cover so many ideas for making your lessons stand out. Like we have one on teaching young learners as well. So that's really valuable for thinking of fun activities and how to manage a classroom with children, that sort of thing. So even if you're actually not looking at adults, maybe you're looking at teaching kids music English, that could be another niche for you. There's the world's your oyster, really. Perfect. So I might wrap it up there, guys. Just a reminder there. So there is the link just above there for the Gap Year Guide. I definitely recommend downloading that. The link, once we leave the meeting, the link will be gone. If you do miss it, feel free to email us and we can send you the guide as well. Feel free there to leave a review as well. If you mention my name and email us a screenshot, you can get a free one-to-one career TEFL consultation call and guide as well. Thank you so much to everyone that attended. If you do have any questions, feel free to get in touch. As I said, we'll have this recording up in a few days on YouTube that you can watch it back as well. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great day.